What's up, guys, and welcome back to Overkill Gaming, your home for high-end gaming, whether it's PC, PS5, or handheld. We got you covered. Yeah, we're back with the Ayaneo Geek. We're taking a look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 running on the Ayaneo Geek. We're going to be taking a look at 800p and 1080p and testing different settings just to see how far we can push the Ayaneo Geek. Right now, we are running it on 800p with ultra settings and FSR set to ultra quality. And as you can see, the graphics look absolutely amazing. And we basically have almost a lock 60 FPS. There are a little dips, few dips here and there below 60 to 58, 57. But for the most part, it's staying in that high 50s to 60s range. Now, one thing I didn't test is running the game without FSR at all. I may go back and do that, but for those of you who are not familiar with the Ayaneo Geek, it is a handheld gaming PC made by a company called Ayaneo, and just like the Steam Deck, it is running an AMD processor. However, this one is using the AMD Ryzen 7 6800U along with the integrated graphics chip, the Radeon 680M, which is significantly more powerful than the one in the Steam Deck. It does also use more power, so the unit does come with a much larger battery as well. Now, this is the kind of game that I normally will play at home docked anyway, either docked or plugged in. So I'm not too concerned with running this game at higher TDPs, as I'm not going to be at work playing this game. And if I am, I'm not going to be playing it for hours. I'm probably only going to be playing a few matches and then getting off. So we wanted to see how far we could push this system with this game. And this is a game that actually runs pretty well, even on the Steam Deck at 800p. However, you are going to get better results with higher settings and at higher resolutions on the Ayaneo Geek. And we do have a video showing off where we tested Modern Warfare 2 on the Steam Deck. We'll make sure to link that in the description if you guys want to see a little bit of a comparison between how well it ran in 800p on the Steam Deck and how well it runs on the Ayaneo Geek here on the Steam Deck. All right, so here we are now. We are testing 800p Extreme preset with FSR set to balance, still at the 28 watt TDP, and we're still hovering very close to that 60 FPS range there. That's what we want. So it's really good to see that even on the extreme settings, we have no problem hitting and maintaining 60 FPS here on the Geek. This is a very, very impressive handheld. And these results are achievable even at lower wattages. If you guys saw my unboxing video, we showed a quick clip of Modern Warfare 2 running at 22 watts on the recommended preset. We were basically locked at 60 FPS even at lower wattages. I haven't taken it down to like 15 or anything like that because that's basically the bottom floor for the Ayaneo Geek, which is the highest. The max wattage TDP for the Steam Deck is the bottom floor for the Ayaneo Geek. I may go back and test it just to see how well the game runs on certain settings at even a lower TDP, such as 15. But for those of you who are looking for something that can play this game at almost the same quality as a console, like an actual Xbox or PS5 console in 1080p and 800p in handheld mode, this is the device that you want right here, man. All right, so real quick, we're going to take a look at the Ayaneo Geek playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on recommended settings with FSR set to ultra quality. But we're going to be taking a look at it running at a lower TDP, such as 15 watts. And right here is where you'll kind of see the difference between the Steam Deck and the Ayaneo. On these lower wattages is where the Steam Deck actually may outperform the Ayaneo Geek, because the Ayaneo Geek has a much more powerful processor and it takes more power to get higher frame rates out of it. But as you can see here, even on 15 watts on this very demanding map that I was telling you about, the water map, it is still playable. Obviously, we still can't get close to 60 FPS in some instances, but if we were playing this on the Steam Deck at this wattage, we would definitely be hitting 60 FPS at 800p with these settings. So that's one of the differences. The Steam Deck is a little bit better at 15 watts, whereas the Ayaneo is going to be better at higher wattages. So right now we're going to take a look at the Ayaneo Geek running at 22 watts, which for me, I believe is actually the sweet spot for the Ayaneo, for those who want to try to conserve a little bit of battery power on a very demanding AAA game, but at the same time want to get that performance that the Ayaneo Geek is known for. Here we are running at 22 watts with the exact same settings, and you can see we have a lock 60. So it is not required to play games at 28 watts in order to be able to achieve these results. You can actually achieve them at lower wattages as well. Also, don't forget that the Ayaneo Geek does have a larger battery than the Steam Deck. All right, so now we are going to be testing it in 1080p, and we have it set to balanced right now with FSR set to ultra quality. And here you can see, even in 1080p, we are still holding firm at around 60 FPS, and the image quality is absolutely amazing. Now, this is where the Ayaneo Geek really starts to separate from the Steam Deck. Whenever we try to run this game on the Steam Deck at 1080p, it just wasn't strong enough to handle that resolution. At least it's still playable. You can definitely still play, but don't expect to be able to get close or hold or maintain these high frame rates that we are holding now, even on low settings, especially on the water map. For some reason, that water map is very demanding, and you will see dips down into the 30s and 40s in 1080p. And as you can see right now, we are using roughly 14, almost 15 gigabytes of RAM, 10,383 gig for the actual system RAM, and then almost 3,600 for the actual video RAM. And as you'll notice, we playing on higher settings, and especially in higher resolutions, it's going to require more RAM. So that's why I chose to get the 32 gigabyte version of the Ayaneo Geek, which I believe is very capable of handling a lot of games at higher resolutions and higher settings, and also is more future proof, I believe, as games become even more demanding. All right, so next up, we're going to be testing Warzone 2.0. This is Season 2 gameplay. And yes, it is going to be slightly more demanding on the system compared to Modern Warfare because it's a larger map. But as you'll be able to see, this system does handle Warzone quite well as well. And I'm not the biggest Warzone fan. I used to be really into Warzone. I used to play it every single day. Ever since they got rid of Verdansk, I haven't really been as into it. So yeah, so I just dropped into the map, died, and we are spectating here. And we are now looking at Warzone in 800p on ultra settings with FSR set to balanced. And as you can see, we're holding on pretty strong here in that high 50s range, very close to 60. And I'm confident if we were to drop it down to 800p balanced, it would probably be a lock 60 FPS here in Warzone as well. And some of you may wonder why I never made a video showing Warzone on the Steam Deck. It's because it just didn't run very well. Lots of dips down, and even if you were able to hit 60 FPS on a certain preset, you would see some pretty significant dips down into the 40s. It's because of the map. It's so big and the draw distances, and there's just not enough memory to be able to render the map and still have it look pretty decent. You would have to drop the game settings all the way down to low settings, and still you would probably have some significant dips in Warzone. And for that reason, I never really recommended playing Warzone on the Steam Deck in 800p or any resolution, really, because it just wasn't a great experience for me. So now we're moving on. Next setting we're going to be testing is 800p extreme settings here in Warzone. Still running it at 28 watts TDP, and still here on the extreme preset we are still holding very close to 60 FPS, and this is with FSR set to performance. Our RAM usage has significantly increased. We're using about 21 gigs of RAM for the system, and then 5.5 gigabytes of VRAM. That's way more RAM than what you would have in the Steam Deck, which is why you would not be able to probably play this at this setting on the Steam Deck. And also, this is why I would recommend that if you're gonna get the Ayaneo Geek, definitely go for the 32 gigabyte model, because you have plenty of RAM for the system, plenty of RAM for the VRAM, plenty of RAM for Windows, and you can play these games at higher settings. And mind you, this is just on 800p. We still have to crank it up to 1080p and see how well it performs on 1080p, which to me, I think that's probably what you guys really want to see, because a game like Warzone, you really do want to play on a larger monitor just to be able to see the enemies easier, be a little bit more competitive. So at least that's how I prefer to play Warzone. I prefer to play it docked and connected to a at least a 20 something inch monitor. GG's. All right, now moving on to 1080p. We are going to be playing this on balanced mode. I don't recommend playing Warzone on anything higher than balanced preset, and also you'll want to have FSR set to performance. Anything above this is going to dip your frame rates down, significantly, probably down into the 40s rather than the high 50s to 60 range. So that's what we're showing off here, and as you can see, we are holding on pretty strong to 60 FPS here in 1080p, which is ideal for playing this game at home, docked with a larger monitor. Maybe have a controller connected as well, using it just the same way you would as a regular console. Now, if you guys watched my unboxing video, you guys probably saw the part where I mentioned that if you want to play at even higher resolutions than this, you do have the option of connecting an eGPU to the Ayaneo Geek. So let's say, for example, I have a 2080 Super over here that I don't use because I have a PC also with a 3090. So I could essentially get an eGPU enclosure, put my 2080 Super in there, and then connect it to the Ayaneo Geek, and then run the game at even higher resolutions and still using these higher settings and be able to get that 60 FPS. So that's gonna about do it for us, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. Also subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos like this. We make videos for the Steam Deck, now for the Ayaneo Geek as well, showing off performance, tips, tricks. Let us know down in the comment section what games you guys would like to see tested. We're out of here. We'll see you in the next one.
Game over.